Tonight, the Eyre Peninsula grain port gets the green light and medical interns encouraged to train and stay in regional areas thanks to further government funding.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening. Construction set to begin on a multi-million-dollar grain export facility on the Eyre Peninsula next month after the state government approved the major development. The decision has left some farmers frustrated, warning the port is unlikely to provide any benefit to the region.
A fight is brewing in the heart of Eyre Peninsula.
It's absolutely ludicrous to throw 2 extra ports on the Eyre Peninsula.
Peninsula Port's getting the green light from the state government to start construction on its $230 million deep water export hub near Lipson Cove.
We'll have storage on site for 800,000 tonnes, and we'll have capacity in our silos for in the vicinity of about 50,000 tonnes.
The project is being spruiked as a huge coup for locals, creating more than 150 construction jobs and 20 to 30 permanent positions once up and running.
We'll be creating opportunities for employment with the Bungala on site as well, in a range of areas, including the Indigenous Ranger program.
But frustrated community members are sceptical of the project, saying the port has been driven by investors and isn't likely to provide any real benefit for farmers.
You look at the export capacity on the Eyre Peninsula now, we're not even using 50% of the available port capacity.
The proposed location, a stone's throw away from Iron Road's Cape Hardy development, just 10 kilometres up the coast. The company planning a multi-commodity port, which is being supported by some farmers.
I'm keen for development as long as it's the right sort of development in the right spot for the right reason.
Despite some community backlash, Peninsula Port says the new facility will help provide greater competition for farmers to export their grain. The first sod expected to be turned next month.
We think that the operational costs on our port will be extremely competitive with what's available on the Eyre Peninsula.
It's not going to give us new markets, new buyers, anything like that. That's purely marketing spin.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
2 local MPs could be campaigning against each other at South Australia's next election after draft changes to electoral boundaries were released. A proposal put forward would see Port Pirie moved into the seat of Stewart, which is based around Port Augusta. If approved, it would pit the member for Frome and Port Pirie resident Jeff Brock against current Stewart MP Dan Van Holst Pelican. Feedback on the draft has been requested by the Electoral Commission. Port Lincoln's Community Support Service says it's been run off its feet, inundated with calls for help from people sleeping rough or couch surfing. The service says it further shines a spotlight on the need for more affordable and social housing.
With winter chill creeping in, temperatures across Port Lincoln can plummet to freezing conditions, making it hard for those sleeping rough to keep warm.
We're really struggling in this region. I was just having a conversation with someone who's homeless yesterday and they were in fairly high levels of distress.
West Coast Community Services inundated with calls for help, workers out on the streets in the dead of night finding dozens of people needing support.
People are struggling to get over the border, and in some cases that where they are in South Australia, they're not allowed to go back home because of COVID-19 reasons.
To add insult to injury, the organisation is finding homes which would usually provide shelter for those in need are turning people away, with the COVID anxiety causing chaos for our most vulnerable.
That leaves a whole cohort of people who don't have housing options or shelter overnight.
Support workers say during the recent Code Blue they assisted 5 people who needed help in one night, a record number.
Look, 5 in one night for a small community like Port Lincoln is a lot. I think there was a variety of reasons behind each person's story.
It's important to get their full story so we can help them as much as we can.
The service says the high demand further shines a spotlight on the need for more affordable and social housing.
We really need to all be in this together to support people.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Last Thursday, this program broadcast an item where we alleged that an Ombudsman's report recommended that the General Manager of the Cleve District Council, Mr Peter Arnold, be sacked. This is not the case. In a statement issued on behalf of the Council by Mayor Philip Cameron, it was noted that Mr Arnold has the full support of his colleagues and the elected members. Still to come tonight, the CFS puts a call out for more members in the lead up to bushfire season, and Arid Lands wins a coveted Traveller's Choice Award. Welcome back. New statistics reveal there's been a decline in the number of people volunteering in South Australia over the past few months. Emergency services such as the CFS are encouraging community members to become part of the team to help the community when and where it's needed most.
They're the ones who give up their time all in the name of giving back to the community, but volunteering numbers are not looking healthy.
We've seen a 60% decline in volunteering across Australia and 66% in South Australia alone.
The team at the Wilmington CFS station are in need of more members, saying it's not always about fighting the flames.
There's a lot of different things that they can do, you know, from driving vehicles, picking up crew, delivering food, cleaning vehicles, cooking barbecues, helping on the radio.
Training is provided for those that offer up their time.
I actually do a lot of training as a volunteer. Go away all weekend training people and then back to work on Monday.
Especially in emergency services, they are highly trained. There's so many opportunities to take on different courses and different skill sets and things.
Although the crew here do get involved when things get rough, travelling across the nation to lend a hand.
New South Wales, Kangaroo Island, Miltali, went to Cuddly Creek and Yorktown as well, so there was a few pretty intense days in there.
And after 17 years, Robert says he still enjoys his days in the truck.
The best part about it is when you go out and you protect somebody's house and they come up and thank you. That's really nice, you know, they come up and give you a hug and that sort of stuff, and you get that all the time and it makes it worthwhile.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Additional funding has been injected into a rural GP program aimed at providing interns with a broad educational experience in regional areas. Rural intern numbers have more than doubled in the past year, with 5 new positions based at the Whyalla Hospital.
Continuing to save lives, these interns are crucial to rural hospital services and GP clinics.
Interns play a very big role in rural regional hospitals because they are Australian graduates, young, vibrant doctors who are very keen to learn.
The South Australian government investing into the sector, providing $20 million over a 4-year period to help develop and implement a rural health workforce strategy.
We currently train rural generalists in the state, however we don't have a formal structured training program, and we're looking to establish a coordinated South Australian Rural Generalist Training Program.
Hospitals are very busy and we need some very energetic doctors to work with us.
This program, specifically designed for interns, is structured to provide a broad educational experience in rural general practice. It also eliminates challenges faced when recruiting medical health professionals in rural areas. This year's interns in Whyalla helping the community in a large way.
Definitely after the interns started here in Whyalla, I'm really pleased that they're doing very well, and we definitely improve the services in Whyalla.
Some of this year's interns are already applying for full-time positions next year. The next generation of lifesavers in Whyalla. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The Arid Lands Botanic Gardens Cafe has been crowned a winner in TripAdvisor's 2020 Traveller's Choice Award. Every year, the company combs through reviews and ratings to list the top destinations around the nation.
From coffees to cakes, the Arid Lands Cafe caters to a range of taste buds.
When you taste the bush tucker, like using the Australian bush seeds and that in a lot of the recipes, that makes it unique to this place.
And now the cafe will be adding another award to its wall.
It's pretty exciting, actually. We very, very chuffed and happy to have received the Traveller's Choice Awards. So that puts us in, believe it or not, the top 10% of restaurants globally.
The tourism manager says the award reflects the hard work of its employees.
It is a real credit to a phenomenal team of individuals that have really been quite resilient and versatile in adapting to the unknown.
And regular diners say there's a lot to love about the whole experience dining out in the Botanic Gardens.
You get very good food. They have a variety of food on the menu, and you can enjoy each different one that you order. I especially like the soups in winter and the salads in summer.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. Coming up after the break, renewed calls for a chairlift at Mount Remarkable, and the Port Augusta Racing Club gears up for another event, but this one will be held differently. Hello again. A Mid-North local is rallying for a chairlift to be considered for Mount Remarkable. The former project manager says the project could transform the region and assist elderly residents to get to the top.
A bold idea from a passionate local. Gordon Beck says a chairlift here at Mount Remarkable could transform the region and assist elderly residents to reach the top.
A chairlift installed, mainly for people who aren't so fit, can go to the top and get the views.
Across Australia, there's around 500 chairlifts, many at tourism hotspots. Previously working as a project manager, Gordon says his proposal, which will cost between $4 to $10 million, should be paid for by the state government.
Feasible amount, considering the fact of the infrastructure at Melrose to accommodate it and the workers required.
The member for Stewart says the idea should go under state government review.
Our government has actually called for submissions from private industry for people who would like to consider things happening on public land.
Saying the environment should also be considered in these plans.
People with different views about whether they wanted, the ranges to be impacted in this way, and there'd be others who would think it was fantastic. It would no doubt be very good for Port Pirie with regard to tourism opportunities.
Whether government or whether private investors, and we need to have a feasibility study, all those sorts of things to get it off the ground.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
6 international students have spent the past month in Whyalla undergoing teaching placements at 2 of the city's primary schools. It's part of a new trial program by Uni SA, encouraging work opportunities in rural communities.
Learning the sounds and letters of the alphabet.
Sound, what sound, what sound,
This reception class, one of many involved in this trial program.
The University of South Australia is really pleased to be able to host 6 students from our Masters of Teaching Early Childhood degree.
The international Uni SA students participating in a range of hands-on learning at Long Street and Nicholson Avenue primary schools.
The teachers and kids are really lovely and they help us a lot, so we really appreciate we come here and to do the placement.
Over the past month, they've been preparing class lessons and teaching the young students alongside a qualified teacher.
This is my second time having a student with me this year, and it's been fantastic for myself and for the children. They've really enjoyed it.
Students able to make rural connections through this program, with hopes they'll take up full-time teaching positions in the region.
So we're really pleased that we're able to bring these students out to the region and support them to undertake a regional experience here in Whyalla.
I think because we are a nice small community, they can really get to know the children well, build relationships with the kids and their families, which is amazing.
Uni SA says the program has been very successful, with the students eager to apply for work in Whyalla once they've finished their teaching degrees.
I think so, maybe.
Yeah, give me an offer, I would love to.
I encourage every student to come here to do their placement because I did have a very good experience over here.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Emergency services across the Spencer Gulf are calling for residents to clean up their yards with bushfire season just around the corner. Port Pirie Council's Greens Disposal Day is in a few weeks, the perfect opportunity to clean up.
A strong message residents are urged to act upon.
It is very important to clean up your backyard on our perspective and for their safety.
Volunteers say not cleaning up could put your property at serious risk.
Have to clear a lot of stuff around it, posts and grass and firewood and all that. We're not going to have time to do that. We're going to move to another property that has been well prepared.
SES crew say it's not only important for fire season, but also to prevent a catastrophe caused by heavy winds.
there any rubbish or loose items that they may have laying around in their backyard that has the potential to flow away, especially with some of these high winds that we've been experiencing across the region.
Port Pirie Council is also offering a free waste disposal day end of August.
As well as improve the amenity of their locations, reduce grass load and vegetation load, helps with vermin control, snakes and mice and those sorts of things.
The disposal day has a strict criteria with all requirements found on Council's website.
We only accept clean greens, so your normal vegetation.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. Coming up after the break, we'll hear from the experts with this week's footy tips, and we'll have the weather with Alex Sykes. Hello again. The Port Augusta Racing Club is gearing up for another race day this weekend. However, spectators will not be allowed on the course due to the latest COVID-19 restrictions. Last weekend's meet was cancelled because of the weather. Racegoers are encouraged to watch this weekend's races online. Time now for a preview of the weekend's local football action. Here's our experts with their tips.
Welcome to Port Lincoln Footy Tips and round 7. We kick things off at Centenary Oval, where Lincoln South are hosting Tasmans. Tasmans are undefeated, and even though Souths are playing a real good game, it's hard to go against Tasmans. I'm tipping Tasmans to win this one, and win this one by 4 goals. In the next game, we got Boston's hosting Waybacks at Poole Oval. Boston's had a good fight last week, but still went down. Waybacks, they're sitting second, and I can't see them losing this game. I'm tipping Waybacks to win this one, and win this one convincingly.
Round 7 of Whyalla football gets underway Saturday at Bennett Oval at Central Whyalla versus North Whyalla. Both teams had disappointing losses last week, but for very different reasons. Central's led top team West for all of the game before going down narrowly in the final quarter, whereas North gave Roona Bay their first win of the season. With that in mind, Central should be too strong. Saturday's other game at Memorial Oval, it's Rapina versus Roona Bay. Bay's got their very first win of the season last week. They'll be full of confidence, but Roos are going along very nicely. They had a massive win last week and the Roos to win. And finally on Sunday, it's West Whyalla versus South Whyalla, Bennett Oval. South really need to get their move on if they want to play in the finals this year. They didn't kick a goal last week, and I think West are going to be way too strong.
Hello and welcome to round 7 of SGL football. This round starts with West taking on South at Central Oval in Port Augusta. Earlier in the year when these two met, it was West with a surprise win over South. Since then, West have failed to win another game and South have gone undefeated. I'm tipping South. Here in Port Pirie, it's the Lions taking on Central. The Lions should prove too strong in that one.
And to see how the weather's faring over the weekend, here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, Louise, and good evening. There were showers across most parts today. Port Augusta, Whyalla and Broken Hill had the region's top temperatures, reaching a high of 18 degrees. Woodness 17, Cleve 16. Port Lincoln, Port Pirie were both 17, Clare reaching a high of 13 degrees, Kadina 16, Adelaide a shower or two also reaching a high of 16. Patchy cloud in the south near a slow-moving low-pressure system is generating frequent showers and some thunderstorms in the east. Skies are clearing in the north under dry air and a building ridge of high pressure. Moving on to tomorrow now, we'll start with the Gulf waters. Northwesterly winds set to reach 10 to 15 knots, seas around 1 metre, south to southwesterly swells below 1 metre. Partly cloudy across most centres, 16 in Port Lincoln and Cleve, Woodner 18, 17 in Whyalla, a high of 18 in Port Augusta, while it's set to be a max of 16 in Kadina. Should reach a high of 17 in Port Pirie, a shower or two in Clare, 13, and Broken Hill, 17 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, mostly fine conditions across the region on Sunday. Temperatures averaging in the late teens, early 20s. 17 degrees in Broken Hill, Port Lincoln and Kadina. Woodner to have the region's top temperature reaching 21, Port Augusta 20. Looking to be mainly fine across most centres on Monday, however rain in Woodner, Port Pirie, Kadina and Port Lincoln. Port Augusta to have the region's top temperature 21. Similar conditions forecast for Tuesday as well. Sunny in Broken Hill, a top of 18 degrees. Partly cloudy in Whyalla and Port Augusta. Rain for Kadina, Port Pirie and Port Lincoln. So there are some fine conditions on the way for the weekend. That's all the weather from me tonight. Louise, it's back to you.
Lovely, thanks Alex. And that's your local news for this week. We thank you as always for joining us. We'll have updates later, but if we don't see you, have a lovely and safe weekend. John will be back with you on Monday. Good night.